Welcome to our Steamship Exhibit. We're very excited about this exhibit, and it is an award-winning exhibit. We actually did win a certificate of commendation from the American Association for State and Local History for this exhibit. So we're very proud of it, and it was nice to get some national recognition for it. The exhibit is special for a lot of different reasons. One, it was entirely supported by private contributions, which is really exciting. And I think it represents what can happen when we sort of partner our creativity and our resources that we have in-house with the financial resources to make those dreams happen. And we're hoping that this kind of exhibit is going to happen throughout the entire galleries. Now, what is it specifically about this exhibit that makes it so fun and inviting? And through visitor studies, we have found that visitors stay longer in this exhibit than they do in all the others. And I think one of the main attractions for it is that we've really tried to create an environment for the exhibit to really express that this is about the steamship era, the very romantic, fun steamship era that Catalina had for almost 100 years. So some of the elements that we include for that are things like the flooring, which we've tried to show as kind of like the old decking that you would have found on a steamer. And over here, we needed to do something to protect the artifacts that we have from the SS Avalon. So rather than just putting up some boring old ordinary barrier, we actually tried to create something that was very reminiscent of the kinds of railings that they would have had on the steamers like the SS Avalon. And then we also have features like the rivets on this back wall. Our exhibit designer, Krista, came up with these, and we think these are kind of a nice, fun atmosphere. And then the old style paneling over here to represent what might have been in an old cabin. Now, we also wanted to include some technology to get kids, for one, excited and involved. I think more and more children expect to find interactive technology kinds of things in museums. And people in general learn in all kinds of different ways. So we wanted to incorporate different ways of learning here in the exhibit. So this is our audio station. And on this audio station, there are interviews from all kinds of people in town talking about different aspects of the steamers. We have Jean Crow and Kathleen Lane, who were couriers on the steamships, talking about their experiences. Cy Hathaway used to be a stevedore and tells a really funny story about offloading watermelons from the steamers years ago and how the stevedores would always accidentally drop a couple of watermelons and have them break, and then they had something for a little snack later. Chuck Liddell talks about coin diving and all the experiences that that entailed, and just answering some basic questions that visitors might have. If you're coin diving, where are you going to put the coins? So that's one thing that he talks about. And we also have some selections of songs that used to be, they're Catalina songs, and they were from bands that used to play on the steamships, like in this case, Shipmates and the Ginger, if any of you remember them. One of the elements that people seem to really enjoy is our scrapbook, and one of the reasons we created it was that this is a very rich topic that covers a lot of different aspects of Catalina history, and there was no way we could put all of it on the walls. So we created a scrapbook, and we tried to make it look like an old scrapbook. Hopefully it really helps to get across the idea that coming over on the steamer was an event. It was an event just as important as the visit actually over here to the island. And it's something that's changed. We don't have that now. The other thing that people really seem to enjoy is the video kiosk. And in here we have different segments. We have 4 segments that people can choose that show the steamer coming over, what that voyage was like, how people dressed. Then we also show some of the attractions that people came and saw when they were over here in the late 30s, things like the bird park. The other thing we wanted to do was create something for children. And kind of the impetus for doing that was our model of the Catalina here. And over my years in being here, so many times I've seen children running over to the model of the Catalina because it's very fun. Children are very attracted to it. And yelling at their parents, "Mom, Dad, it's the Titanic!" And that always used to kind of frustrate me because it's obviously not the Titanic. It's nowhere close in terms of scale or type of ship. So we wanted to do something to help kids and families and anybody really understand what the differences are. So we created an interactive activity which we placed down here below the steamship to kind of help them understand the scale. It's a hard thing to describe in terms of words, but so we did it graphically. And our designer came up with these wonderful sliding panels that have silhouettes of some steamers. So there's the Titanic, which they're all very familiar with. There's the Queen Mary, which hopefully most of them have come over from Long Beach and have probably just seen the Queen Mary. And then there's our ship, the Catalina. And by sliding the panels, the different silhouettes are overlaid over each other, and you can very clearly see that the Catalina is much, much, much smaller than the Titanic and the Queen Mary. And then we also have some important features of length and weight and so forth that everybody can kind of compare the three different ships with. The final thing we wanted to show our visitors was literally, where are they now? What has happened to the steamers? When possible, we always like to try and bring history up to date because that's what people know is kind of today. And they always wonder what indeed has happened to these different steamers. So we talk about the Warrior and the Falcon, which has become that wonderful house on 3rd and Clarissa Street. We talk about the SS Catalina, which a lot of you all remember, of course, and is now down in Ensenada. And there is a rescue effort still taking place, and they do hope to raise that ship soon. And we talk about the Cabrillo, which is up in the Napa River Valley. And then finally, we do also show some underwater shots of the SS Avalon. Now, this exhibit happened because of private donations, and I want to take this opportunity very quickly to thank all of you, and I'm sure many of you watching did participate in helping sponsor this exhibit. In particular, I should mention George and Catherine Pardee, who were significant sponsors for the exhibit. It really couldn't have happened without them. And this is just an example of what can happen, again, when we kind of join forces with your support financially and morally and with resources, historical resources, and the ones that we have here. This is the kind of exhibit that we can do and that we hope to do more of in the future.